morning. So we're going to make a Korean noodle dish today using sweet potato vermicelli or sweet potato noodles. Anything like that is really, really good. But you can use other noodles as well if you want to, like rice noodles or mung bean noodles, whatever you fancy. And we're going to use some steak. So I've got a sirloin steak. Whenever you're cooking anything really quick, kind of stir fry, you want a good quality steak. So like a rump or a sirloin. Fillet probably is a bit too expensive. Anything like those cheap sort of minute steaks often is not quite tough, so don't use those. We're going to be making a sauce with these ingredients here, and I've already soaked my Korean potato starch or beef starch, not beef starch, sweet potato noodles. So I've actually had a pan of boiling water and then I put them in there, and they literally took like 3 or 4 minutes, and then I've just refreshed them in a little bit of cold water just so they're ready, and I'm going to be using rapeseed oil to cook with. So quickly, I'm just going to get the sirloin steak chopped. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to push it down a little bit, and then I'm just going to cut it in little strips like this against the grain. So it should be lovely and tender as well. Now I could marinate this in a little bit of soy sauce if I wanted to, but I kind of haven't got time. But if you have, that would be lovely. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll put a little bit of soy sauce on it now, just to give it a little bit of an extra coat. There you go. All right. Health and safety, I'm just going to go and wash my hands. So everything's ready to go. I'll be back in 2 secs. So I'm going to get my wok on, going to get that nice and hot while I prep everything else up. So I've got my steak, I'll just put that out of the way for a little bit. I'm going to chop my mushrooms in half and then into slices. So I'm just going to use, this is kind of just steak and mushroom, basically, steak and mushroom noodles. But again, you can put whatever you fancy in it. If you want to change it up for chicken or prawns, whatever you fancy. And if you don't like any of the ingredients, simply don't use them. Make it your own. So chopping and tailing the spring onions, get rid of that. Slice up my onions. And I've also got a double onion now. We've also got some red onion. I reckon just half of one of those will be enough. So I'm just going to cut off the root and just slice it nice and thin. That'll do. I think that'll do. I'll crush them a little bit because they tend to stick together. Ooh, look at that, look, smoking nicely. Turn that down for now before I set fire to the kitchen. And then we're going to make up our sauce. So I'm going to use 2 tablespoons of light soy sauce. I'm just using a Japanese one at the moment. I'm using a tablespoon of rice wine vinegar. And I'm using a teaspoon of sesame oil. Whenever you use sesame oil, just a small amount, because it's very, very strong. And then I'm using a tablespoon of brown sugar. You can use caster sugar, palm sugar. And I'm also using a clove of garlic in there, and I've already crushed that up. And then just a pinch of black pepper. That's it. So that's the sauce. Just mix that until you can get that sugar dissolved. So this would be nice for a marinade as well. And you can double it up or triple it up, however you fancy, if you want more. So that's it. Brilliant. Wok. Let's get that wok hot again. Whack that up. Hot wok, oil. Round the outside, half a tablespoon of oil, usually enough. And then I'm going to get my onions cooked first. So in with the onions. Want to hear that sizzle? Garlic I've already got in the sauce, so that'll just marinate. But alternatively, you could always put the garlic in there as well. Either way. And then I'm going to put my steak in there. Let that cook off. So I'm going to overcook it. So I'm going to put my onions in there as well, give it a flavour. So they all kind of roughly cook at the same time, the onions, the mushrooms and the steak. So I'm not going to give them too much longer before I'm going to shove the next ingredient in. So in with the mushrooms. Quick wok cooking. Nice high heat. As soon as that steak is sealed all around the outside and mushrooms have taken on a little bit of that flavour from the onions, it's pretty much ready to go. Just just a couple of minutes. Steak is going to be a lot more tender if it's rarer, but we're going to kind of cook it to like a rare medium really in this pan. But if you want to cook it longer, obviously just give it another couple of minutes. The same with the mushrooms. Woo! Put back. Go back to you. So as you can see, these little pieces of steak just about cooked. Mushrooms are half cooked in with our noodles. So as I say, these are sweet potato noodles. I'm going to put them in there, but I'm going to use some of that cooking liquid in there, about a tablespoon, just to help it get all those flavours together. Turn it down a little bit. They're slightly chewy, these noodles. I really like them. Korean sweet potato noodles. They've got a completely different consistency to other noodles. Keep dropping my mushrooms. Go back in. So once that's all mixed up nicely, and we know everything is kind of roughly cooked how I want it to be cooked, so if you want to cook your steak more, that's fine. But I'm just going to put the sauce in now. So soya sauce, rice wine vinegar, garlic and sugar. And a little bit of sesame oil in as well. And the only thing I'm going to garnish it with is my sesame seeds. I've got some toasted sesame seeds there. So I'm just going to whack that up a little bit because I want all those juices now, all that sauce, because it's got sugar in it, it's going to caramelise a little bit. So I'm just going to give that a nice heat up. Let that get the heat to it all the way through. And if you notice with these noodles as well, you can see these noodles especially soak up all that juice. And I want all that juice in there to reduce down a little bit as well because it will coat the noodles. So again, if you want to put any toppings on this, feel free. Coriander, Thai basil, Vietnamese mint. I'm using sesame seeds. Oh, lovely. So again, 5 minutes boiling, 5 minutes prepping while they're boiling at the same time, and 5 minutes in the pan. So you literally can make that in under 15 minutes. Really beautiful and lovely. And you should try those Korean noodles because they're just chewy and yummy and lovely, and they're a bit like chewing gum. But don't let me put you off. Anyway, there you go.